And Larry Nassar, the former USA gymnastics doctor sentenced to spend the rest of his life in prison for sexually abusing more than 100 girls, now says he's a victim. Sarah Klein was just a child when he abused her, and tonight she speaks out for the first time with her reaction to what Larry Nassar says now.
As much as it was my honor and privilege to hear the sister survivors, it is my honor and privilege to sentence you.
But first, Larry Nassar says that he was attacked in prison because of this.
Sir, I'm giving you 175 years, which is 2,100 months. I just signed your death warrant.
Said, I just signed your death warrant. His attorneys now want a new judge and a new sentence. Nassar's first victim, Sarah Klein, is breaking her silence in her first national TV interview tonight with her reaction to that.
Perhaps you have figured it out by now, but little girls don't stay little forever. They grow into strong women that return to destroy your world. You are a sick man, Larry. I hope you rot in prison, because that's where you belong.
Your Honor, I ask you to give Larry the strongest possible sentence which his actions deserve. Let this sentence strike fear in anyone who thinks it is okay to hurt another person. Abusers, your time is up.
Sir, I'm giving you 175 years, which is 2,100 months. I've just signed your death warrant.
I just signed your death warrant, she said. Judge Rosemarie Aquilina was one of the many powerful moments after the long journey to justice for more than 150 survivors of the person they thought of as a doctor to the gymnast, Larry Nassar. Now the disgraced former USA gymnastics and Michigan State University team doctor says that those words, signed your death warrant, led to the serial sexual predator's assault when he arrived in prison. And because of that, he wants a new sentencing and a new judge. Joining me now exclusively in her first nationally televised interview is Sarah Klein, the first brave survivor in all of this to speak out. Sarah, welcome. It is good to have you here today. Your reaction to what he says happened to him when he got to prison and the fact that he wants a new sentencing, new judge.
Absolutely not surprised. Larry is a master manipulator. He abused hundreds of women for a span of 3 decades. So this is just typical Larry. He's a prisoner. He has 60 years on his federal sentence, and what does a prisoner want more than anything? To get out of prison, sooner. So he's 54 years old. He's not getting out, and we are not surprised in the least at his manipulation.
It's no surprise, as you say, that his attorneys also, who I'm sure want to be paid for, more of their work as they go through this, that they say, well, we're going to try to get you, a new sentencing, a new judge. What did you think of that judge as you watched all of this play out and the way that she handled the case?
She handled the case extremely dignified. These are little girls who have been through a lot. And she gave us the opportunity to speak up, use our voices, and during that week there was a momentum that built and there was healing that took place there, and she did it with her head held high.
So tell me about you, because initially you spoke out as a Jane Doe. You did not want to be identified.
Yes.
And you were not a professional gymnast. You were a gymnast who was, working out and learning the sport.
Yep.
When he took advantage of you at what age?
8 years old.
8 years old.
Through 25 years old. 17 years of abuse, 3 to 4 times a week, every year, for, almost 2 decades.
How do you cope with that?
You know what? 4 times a week now. I have a daughter who's 2 years old, and there's a lot of healing that comes with that. Being able to speak out, use my voice on behalf of her and all of the other little girls out there who just want to have fun, want to participate in sports. It was time for me to come forward and time for me to speak up.
You were so young, and you were, I'm sure, told that this was a treatment, like you told everyone else.
Correct.
Right? So you don't even understand anything about sexuality at the age that this is beginning.
Correct.
For you, right?
Correct.
So as you were getting older, how did you deal with this reality And did you try to get anyone to stop it? You know, what did you think?
It took me a long time to understand that the man I loved, the man I trusted, the man whose wedding I danced at was actually, you know, harming me, and it wasn't actually medical treatment. So it took a long time, a lot of therapy, and you know, really sort of growing into an adult woman to even recognize what had happened to me for all of those years.
And did you ever confront him? How did you begin the confrontation process?
I confronted Larry for the first time in January in Judge Aquilina's courtroom. And he immediately knew it was me. Our paths had not crossed since I was 25 years old. I'm now 38 years old. And I walked up to that podium and looked him in the eyes, and he just began to shake his head.
He knew.
He knew.
Sarah, thank you very much. Good to have you with us tonight.
Thank
and I
you.
give you a lot of credit. And all of you who have spoken out have made the sport, I hope, safer for all of these young women who are coming into it now. Thank you for being here tonight.
Appreciate it.
So joining me now is Mark Eiglarsh, criminal defense attorney. Mark, good to have you with us this evening. You heard Sarah telling her story and how she felt that judge was very professional and acted with great integrity during the course of all of that. Does Larry Nassar have any axe to grind that is legitimate with regard to this judge?
No. While very arguably Judge Judy-esque at times, what she did was not unlawful. Her saying things like, I wouldn't let my dog near you, or you're a danger to the community, are things that she said after or as she was hearing testimony from victims who courageously got up there and told what they said. Legally, if you can prove that the judge knew that she was going to give a life sentence prior to even hearing the testimony, then you've got a shot. But I didn't see any comments that evidences that state of mind.
And it is not at all unusual. I mean, Larry Nassar's in a class by himself. But predators of this kind often do not have an easy time of it when they land in prison, correct?
That's correct. The defense is claiming it was the judge's demonizing of Larry Nassar that caused him to be attacked in prison. Listen, he demonized himself through his actions, and then the victims got up there and let the world know what he did. The only good thing about prison is that there's a pecking order, and people like Larry Nassar who prey on children, they're at the bottom.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, it just seems, as you say, to be a very thin thread to suggest that words that the judge used during the sentencing phase of this whole thing somehow have an impact on the individuals who happen to be behind bars, who I doubt really had an opportunity to see any of it.
Listen, you're spending the rest of your life in prison. If you have some money, it's of no use to you in prison. You might as well spend it on lawyers who, even if they have like a lottery ticket chance of winning, let them file this motion and see if there's anything in the record that supports what he's alleging. It at least gives him some hope for the period of time that he's in there being brutalized.
Yeah, no doubt. The attorneys, you know, every attorney wants to tell someone in this situation, or anyone who's been convicted and is going to do time, that there's one more thing we might be able to pull off, right? There's one more way that we might be able to, with all due respect to your profession.
I do not want to demonize these attorneys. Let me make something clear. Maybe they did sense that this judge was going to sentence him to the max. I'm guessing that's how she felt. It's just they have to be able to have the comments to prove it. Something that she said maybe early on that evidenced that she was not going to be fair. I don't think they have it here.
Mark, thank you very much. Good to see you. And Sarah
Thanks,
Klein,
Martha.
thanks again
Have a great
to
weekend.
you. Good to see you both. Coming up right here.